Welcome to the People's Choice Award podcast, brought to you in partnership with Tier 1 People and Fintech Australia. The Finnies, Australia's largest and most prestigious fintech awards, are fast approaching, and we want you to be part of it. Sponsored by the Victorian Government and major partners Vocus and SwiftX, the Finnies are a chance to celebrate the amazing people, incredible innovations, and remarkable resilience that the fintech industry is known for and built upon. Thank you to MasterCard for sponsoring and presenting the award for Emerging Fintech Organisation of the Year at this year's Finnies. We look forward to seeing everyone on the 9th of June in Melbourne, and don't forget to make your vote in the People's Choice Awards. I'm joined by Tarek Ayub, and he's CEO and co-founder of Beforepay. They're up for Emerging Fintech of the Year award. Welcome, Tarek.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dexter.
You're welcome, and congratulations to everybody at Beforepay for making it to this year's finals.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we're going to have a chat a little bit about Beforepay, but before we do, could you tell our listeners a little bit more about what you do?
Absolutely. So at Beforepay, we provide working people with access to a portion of their wages on demand, and we charge them a fixed convenience fee of 5% to do so. We don't charge any interest, late fees, or any hidden costs.
Cool. So in terms of, I guess, your customers, typically who would they be?
Yeah. So our customers, about 70% of them are millennials, Dexter, aged between 18 to 35 years old. What's interesting, though, is 3%, only 3% of our customer base have credit card facilities.
Right.
However, in contrast, about 60 to 70% of them are using buy now, pay later services. So what we're really seeing is, obviously you could see that shift in customer affinity towards the newer style credit products rather than the traditional credit card products. And what we're doing at Beforepay is we're slotting right in to provide individuals with an alternative to the buy now, pay later. Simply because I'm not sure if you're aware or listeners are aware, but buy now, pay laters have only integrated with about 20% of merchants in Australia. So you've got this 80% of discretionary spend that's not covered by them, but people still love that type of system. So that's where Beforepay kind of slots right in.
Brilliant. So how did you come up with the idea for Beforepay?
The genesis of the idea, Dexter, was probably around April 2019. I received a report from AMP that, it shocked me a little bit. It stated that $32 billion is what companies are losing every year due to employees' financial stress. I thought that number's quite large for Australia, Dexter. So what I did is how can I say this? I geeked out on it a little bit and started analyzing it myself. And what I found is the number that I got from my analysis was closer to 50 to 70 billion, which was far larger than that 32 billion. However, what I also found, quite scary statistics. For example, 70% of the nation do not have a budget. 70% of the nation also only have about $800 in savings. Now, about 60% of the nation are living pay to pay. And when I started looking at that cohort of individuals, I found that they're far more prone to taking out predatory payday loans. So I realized that at that moment in time that, hang on, there must be a better way for individuals to access the wages that they have already earned. And that way, obviously, as we could see, because 70% majority of the nation don't have enough savings to, counter for unforeseen bills and stuff like that, at that point, if somebody needs to access their wages before they get paid, they should be able to. Now, on average, on a daily basis, Dexter, about $4 to $6 billion is held in limbo in payroll for individuals. I mean, if we could
how
just
much was that, Tarek?
4 to 6 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you really look at it, Dexter, I mean, if we could just provide people with a small portion of that economically, it's going to make a lot of sense. So I started researching on how to actually do this, how to amalgamate budgeting, spending, and borrowing tools in one app, obviously using technology as a catalyst for this. And what I found is all the incumbents, mostly in the US, they've got a particular approach into providing people with access to their wages, which is to sign up an employer, and then the employer would provide a financial benefit to the employee. However, what I also found is the take-up rate on these products is usually around 9 to 10% of the employee pool, which is not enough. That's not enough to actually solve the problem. I realized at that point, Dexter, that I have to create a new way that is direct to consumer, that can use technology, obviously, as a catalyst to provide people with access to their wages on demand. And that's when Dean and I, my co-founder and CTO, architected this whole system and took it to market.
Cool. So look, I guess buy now, pay later has had some critics in the press, and that there's been some kind of things that have come out where the press have highlighted where people have rorted the system. What have you put into the technology that's actually going to help people and protect those that might be vulnerable within the Beforepay solution, Tarek?
Yeah, so I mean, for starters, the average income of our users is $60,000, so it's probably a little bit higher than the buy now, pay laters. But we also, I guess, it's an important note to make that the Beforepay app is not just providing people with access to their wages. You could also come in and create a budget within 1 minute. So we've created algorithms to be able to analyze your historical spending patterns, and using statistical analysis, we're able to categorize these expenses and provide you with the optimal budget per category. So that way, the reason why we did it that way, Dexter, is because from our research, obviously at the genesis stage of the idea, we realized that most people don't have budgets simply, but not because they don't want to create a budget, but probably because when they go to create a budget, they don't even know where to start. They don't know where to begin. And then they start getting overwhelmed, and an hour or two goes by and they've got nothing on the spreadsheet. Yeah. So I guess by taking on that automation of it, to at least give them it would at least give them a good starting point, Dexter. Now, what we also do is we categorize people's spending. So they can actually understand how they're spending their money on a day-to-day basis. And we predict their upcoming bills for them as well. So we do have quite a lot of users using our other modules in our app. But also, I do want to mention another point. We make sure that we are very transparent with our users. So the 5% convenience fee that we charge, that is literally all we charge. So a lot of our customers come back to us saying, hey, can I move my payment back by a week? What am I being charged for this? And we say 0. So the one thing that I want to stress is our system is one of the most transparent systems and one of the most understood systems by the general public, and it's also one of the fastest systems as well. Yeah. So from the point of download to the point of you getting money directly into your bank account, it takes like 3 to 5 minutes, and people love that.
Sounds like you've put my mum into an app.
I won't tell her that. Oh man.
We didn't when I was that age, we didn't have apps, so I'd have to go to my mum's every Monday and say, "Hey mum, can I borrow 50 quid on a Friday?"
Oh man, I feel your pain. I had to do the same thing. I remember one of the journalists that interviewed me quite early in the life cycle of the business. I remember she said to me, "Oh gosh, I think my brother's going to love this. Can I tell him about it?"
Yeah. Look, I think the thing that I'm worried about though, Tarek, is that at least my mum got to see me every Monday, right? My kids, I'll never see them because I've got no leverage over them now.
Afterpay and Beforepay are taking everything.
Yeah. So, in terms of the the kind of the take up that you've had of the product, just about is it a year now since you launched?
The commercial, I mean, we launched to the general public around January 2020, but because of COVID, we stopped acquiring customers in Feb. So we had about 25,000 users, registered users at that point.
What, in the space of just a couple of months?
Oh yeah, within the first week we had like 20,000 downloads.
Wow.
It really, it went like gangbusters at the beginning, and we put hardly any marketing into it as well.
Yeah. Mate, you must have been freaking out.
I was. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I was happy.
Yeah, let's just see if this thing works.
Mate, you have no idea. I think it was a very exciting time for us. But I was definitely nervous, mate.
Yeah.
But it worked, and people definitely loved it. In fact, we did stop acquiring customers in Feb, but in April we gave away free pay advances to everyone, every customer of ours, and it was actually quite humbling, Dexter, because about half of them came back to us telling us to take the fee because they believe that someone else could be in need of it more than they are. So really honestly, cool. Oh mate, we're super proud of our community of users. Seriously, it really, really goes to show that there are a lot of good people out there, mate. So what we did is we put a halt on acquisition, and then August 2020, we raised our Series A and we ramped marketing back up again. So really the numbers any numbers I quote are actually really numbers from September, August 2020. And since then, we've had 300,000 registrations.
What?
And we've got 90,000, approaching 100,000 customers using our pay advance feature.
Man, that's going to be a lot of unhappy parents out there, right? I don't see my kids now because of Beforepay.
or a lot of happy parents that don't get their bludgeoning kids coming to them anymore.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, right, as a parent, as much as you get to complain about it, I think you get the joy of complaining about it, right? So it's
it's a double-edged sword.
So your Series A round, who was involved in that?
Oh, we had quite high-profile investors coming on in that round. We definitely created a bit of noise. We had James Spenceley come on board. So he was the founder of Vocus, chairman of Airtasker and Sweep. We had Allium Capital, our first institutional investor, come on board in that round. Actually, they backed us at a very early stage. And then... we continued to get high-profile customers. But I must say, out of everybody that's invested in my company to date, Dexter, the one, not one investor, but the one group of investors that I'm definitely proud of, mate, are all the founders that have backed me to date.
Yeah.
So to me, that brings me the greatest joy. So I think, I've had Fred, Sebesta from Finder back me at an early stage, Tim Fong from Airtasker, and a whole bunch of other founders. And to me, that probably brings me the greatest joy. Not to discount all the other institutional investors who have backed us to date, but for another founder to back us is, to me, it brings me the greatest joy.
Great. So in terms of numbers of people, how many people have you got in the business now?
I guess I'll contrast it for you. So around September, August, there was about 3 or 4 of us in the business. Today, there's about 33 of us in the business. Yeah, so we've grown quite fast. Everything happens very quickly in Beforepay. We always joke around internally and say one day in Beforepay is like 2 weeks in a startup, and a startup functions faster than a normal company, by the way. So, so everything is like super speed here.
Yeah. So it's a startup on steroids, eh?
Exactly.
What's that journey been like for you then, as a leader, Tarek? Because you've come from working in kind of a big 4 accounting firm and worked in startups, but I mean, I would assume this is the first time that you've been leading a business where you've got 33 people who are dependent on you for their, livelihood and their careers and, their well-being and all those things. How have you found that switch?
I think, to be honest, one of the things, Dexter, that one thing about running a startup is, I believe that one of the biggest skills that a founder could have is being resilient, rolling with the punches, mate. Because you're just going to get punched a lot. And you're just going to keep moving, man, And I think one of the biggest, and it resonates with us and our value set in Beforepay, is if we fail, we want to fail very fast. And that's how I kind of run my life, Dexter, to be honest. Obviously, throughout my Beforepay journey, I've also failed, but I ensure that when I fail fast, mate, and I learn from it and I quickly move, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, like at the beginning, hiring a bunch of people who don't understand the business, don't understand how operationally we're running, and everything is actually being created, by the way, while they're joining. There's a level of me still maintaining that level of control and not wanting to really delegate. But then you start realizing that by empowering individuals to take on these tasks, you actually get much bigger bang for your buck. So I guess, again, it's a matter of being open and authentic with my employees and making them understand that this is also my first time running this type of scale up, and to be patient with me. Now, I was very lucky because I found out at a very early stage in hiring individuals that what I really need to focus on is hiring people who just love what they do, Dexter. Like, they take pride in what they produce, mate, Yeah,
I call it the care factor.
Maybe I'll steal that.
Mate, you're welcome to it, but I totally agree. I mean, you really need to hire people who really care about the product, care about the customer, care about their colleagues, care about the level of work, right? And the pride that they put into their work and as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. And I don't want to discount talent here. There's definitely like how can I say this? Like a 50-50 split of someone's attitude, like positive attitude, and of course the talent that they have, right? So I'm not discounting that. I'm just trying to say that 100%, one of the questions that I ask in every interview is, how much do you love what you do?
Yeah.
And give me examples of like the type of love that you've got for it, because if you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like a job. It just feels like your own little playground, and you just want to get it right. And that's really what we focus on here at Beforepay.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people in my network, I share this philosophy with them. It's very much like a sports team or a professional sports team. Doesn't matter how talented a player is, if they can't perform in the game, they can't take the pressure of, in a final being in front of 50,000 people screaming at them, they're not going to be much use to the team. And I think it's a bit like, the environment that you're in. Somebody can't handle that pressure no matter how talented they are, they're not going to be of benefit to the team. And if, in fact, they might kind of create, challenges that you just don't, are not going to be conducive to output.
Absolutely, absolutely, and even in my role, Dexter, it's something that I grow to learn. You continue to learn about people and how to move them and how to motivate them, how to empower them, how to, I guess, realize their maximum potential, mate. And I think as a leader, this is something that you should always work on it, mate. That's my take on it.
Cool. Now we're going to kind of come to a bit of a close, Tarek. When you look back over this last 12 months, what would you say is the thing or the things that you're most proud of within the team and what you've achieved together?
Ooh, I'm proud of a lot of things. Sometimes I forget to take the time out to be proud of what we've all achieved, but I think
please don't do the humble thing, right? This is celebrating your achievements.
No, I respect that. I think, to be honest, if I had to throw one thing out, I'd probably be the one thing I'm very proud of, and I've always wanted to do it, is to create a company that has a bunch of people working in it that are absolutely happy about being there every day. Like, you feel the joy when you walk into our office space, and you feel like there's a culture there, and everybody treats each other with respect. Everybody has everybody's back, and when one leg falls, the other guy picks them up. And I'm just very proud of having a team that just have backed me, my vision, when we had nothing, and they've seen it grow, and they've grown with us, and they will continue to grow with us. So I must say, I'm definitely happy. I'm definitely proud of building such an amazing team, mate, that has enabled us to achieve our dreams, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, this is People's Choice Award, where I guess the public gets to vote for their favorite fintech. So if somebody's listening, why should they vote for Beforepay?
Good question. I think that one thing that we are doing at Beforepay is we are the first mover. So we innovated this new model, and we should take credit for that. But also, you should take into account the speed of execution and the growth potential of a company like ours, and how much we will add to, number one, the economy in general, but number two, that makes me proud as well, is the fintech ecosystem. And to us, I think that makes a winning company.
Brilliant. Well, congrats to you and the whole team at Beforepay for making it this far, Tarek. Awesome to see, the journey that you're on. I mean, it's kind of pretty enthralling as well, just listening to the growth that you're having. And, from me and the team at Tier 1 People, we wish you and Beforepay all the best in the finals. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Dexter. And thank you for everybody listening as well. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you to MasterCard for sponsoring and presenting the award for Emerging FinTech Organization of the Year. Thanks for your support in making the Finnies a reality. We look forward to seeing everyone on the 9th of June in Melbourne. And don't forget to make your vote in the People's Choice Awards.